Alright guys, so this machine has not been on the channel yet, with the exception of maybe like a short or something I posted as kind of a teaser. But this is kind of my baby now. It's a really good machine. It's a John Deere 605C. I think it's a 06 or 07 model. I bought it with about 2,600 hours on it. I've put a little over 200 hours on it so far, and it's a really great machine. I love the power. You can't hardly beat it. It's got a 4-in-1 bucket. It's joystick controls, so easy on the knees. Honestly, everything about it I absolutely love. I had a 943 track loader before, which is a 28,000 pound machine. This one's just like 23, I think. But this thing will run circles around a 943. It's so much faster and so much more power, even though it's a hair smaller machine. But it really complements the excavator really well. Only things I've had to do to it so far is I replaced one hydraulic hose. I replaced that rear roller and this front idler. It needs an undercarriage soon. Sprockets are not in very good shape. Chains are pretty wore out, but I think it's going to last us a pretty good while before we got to do that, and then we'll just do it all at once, put a brand new undercarriage under it. So I'm going to take y'all along with me today as I finish this yard. This walk around right here is actually being filmed after, so all this right here looked a lot different when I started this morning. But I'm going to take y'all along and show y'all the new machine in action, and I hope you enjoy. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about the new machine, and we're going to get started. Alright guys, I've been struggling to find the motivation that I need to make some content, but today we're going to try to change that. We got a little job down the road that we're doing with the track loader, the new track loader that I've teased months ago and still haven't showed you guys, which I apologize for. Life's just been busy and work's been busy, and I really find, so like my job is very seasonal. Wintertime I do a lot of sitting on my butt, and that kind of gets me down, and then all of a sudden the weather breaks and it's just wide open all day, every day, nearly daylight till dark. So it's hard to pick up the camera some days. So we're going to hop on the bike, which I haven't showed you guys yet. That's kind of a new toy, and head on down to the job site. Alright, I think we got everything. So this job is for a friend of mine just right down the road, fortunately. I like working close to home. Whew, about got down right there. I don't even realize why. I guess I need to pay more attention. My driveway is terrible. I get made fun of all the time because I do excavation for a living, and grade work and gravel work and all that sort of thing, and my driveway is absolutely horrible. It stays that way because I never have time to get my machines home to fix them. Everything you need is sitting inside the garage door. The mallet and stuff's where we left it, and there's a bag of grass seed that's open. So use it first and then open that big one. Okay. That's my cousin Ethan there. He's doing some grass mat for me up at the house. Because so another big thing that's going on with me right now is we bought some property, bought 61 acres. So we're trying to get our house ready to put on the market and get it sold so that I can figure out how to pay for the 61 acres. So he's up there grass matting my bank. I do got to fix my driveway. That's going to force me to, but I am excited about the new place. Hopefully I'll show y'all that soon. I got a lot of plans and plan on building a bunch of trails and roads and stuff through it for riding bikes and four-wheelers and side-by-sides and all that kind of stuff. That's one of my many hobbies, but I do that a lot off camera, is side-by-sides, four-wheelers, and just recently got into bikes, enduro style. Not interested in cruisers or street bikes, but having a lot of fun with these, hopping on and off road and trail riding, creek riding, all that kind of stuff. And actually did a moto camping trip this past weekend. Gonna plan on doing a lot more of that. So if that's something any of y'all would be interested in, I would like to share some of that, but I don't want to flood my channel with stuff that nobody wants to watch. So alright, we're here. Alright, so I'm going to show y'all what we're up against. Just had to sit down and have my crackers and Sprite for breakfast. So I've already been here for a while this morning. I just ran home to get the camera. I took about 3 trees down that were right here real close to the house that they didn't want near the house. We're trying to make them a bit of a backyard here. And then I had this big pile piled up from where I stripped the ground for the house when they get ready to start building. What I'm going to work on is finish getting this pile moved, kind of level out this backyard some. I got to put some material up against the house so that it's shedding away and get that close to finished grade. Probably just going to try to scoot that topsoil out of the way. I don't want to bury it. And I'll probably end up with some dirt piled over here to rob out of when we start fixing the rest of the yard. But the biggest thing is they're going to have a propane tank back here, and they want to be able to park their camper back here. So we're going to take all this down right here to this grade, and we're going to push all that dirt out to here and get it piled up. That way we can use it later when we come back to do the finish work on the yard. Heck yeah, that bee's gonna work all right. Alright, so I've had this loader since the fall, and it failed to get out here and make a video for y'all with it. But it is an absolute beast for its size. These are not very common loaders. It's a 605 John Deere, which I do believe they still make, but you just don't see them much. This is a 605C. I think it's an 06 or 07 model. I got a pretty good deal on it. It's got under 3,000 hours. We're at 28. I think it had 25 or 6 on it when I got it. This machine is just an absolute monster for its size. The running gear on this is the same as a 650J, and a lot of people in the equipment world will tell you that's one of the best dozers that was ever built. Of course, depends on what size you need, but just general, all-around good machine. It's hard to beat a 650J, and this machine has got that same vibe going on for sure. Definitely a lot more power than it has weight, which is really nice. And I got lucky enough to find a joystick model. It's all joystick controlled, basically like running a skid steer, which I do like the old classic V-pattern foot steer loader controls. I don't really have anything against that. But joysticks a little more user-friendly for newer operators, for sure. Like anybody that can run a skid steer can hop on this thing and at least move it around. Obviously the technique is a little different with the loader like this versus the skid steer, a little slower. Well, it's really not that much slower. It's a hydrostatic machine. It's super fast and snappy, but I run a big steel track machine like this. I like to run slower. I don't like to spin around, you know, like I would a skid steer. I try to run it back and forth as much as possible instead of spinning around as much. Like I'd rather just have to turn around and look behind me and back up, even though it's easy to spin around. To me, it's all about protecting the life of the machine and the undercarriage. So I still try to treat it like an old school, you know, gear driven dozer. I've actually still got the old 951C loader as well, but it went down on me. It stopped pulling, and I think something's up with the transmission, so it's at a mechanic's now. I'm sure that's going to cost me, but we'll see. It would be kind of nice to have the skid steer on this job for this vine work up close to the house, but I don't really have time to go get it. And it's not that big of a deal. That's another really big benefit to this loader. It's so maneuverable, and it's not too big. It just does a really good job. It really fits the style of work that I do. Big enough to do big jobs, small enough to do small jobs. It's kind of a middle machine. It's like I think it weighs 23,000 pounds. Those of you who have been watching my channel from the beginning, or even may have found it and went back and looked, know that I had a Cat 943 track loader when I first started, and I really liked that machine. It was the old school V pattern controls. My biggest complaint about the 943 was just sort of a lack of power, which is a common conclusion among people who run a 943 very much. And really, I just got rid of it because I made good money on it, and at the time, I just bought my excavator and I was working by myself. And I just didn't think I needed it. I hated for it to be sitting while I was running my excavator. But then it didn't take me long to realize that I did need another big machine to complement my excavator. And a track loader does that nicely. So I bought that 951. And that's not the loader that I would have been looking for if I had just went out to go buy one. But my father-in-law had it, and he gave me a good deal on it. So I bought it and I run it, and we put a few hundred hours on it without any trouble, barely used any oil. Honestly, it is a really good machine. It's in good shape. Like I said, it don't burn any oil. Undercarriage on it is really good shape. Definitely been gone through before. So it's definitely a good machine. It's a little slow where it's old school, gear driven, power shift, all that. Good steer, but turn brakes, all that stuff seems to be in good shape. But long story short, it's just an older machine, and it's gonna need attention more than I want to give. So I think my new rule of thumb for dozers and loaders is going to be hydrostatic, just because you get more reliability out of it. You don't have to just like when I'm running an old machine like that, I'm just constantly worried, like, what's going to go wrong. And I don't like having that anxiety on top of, you know, the stress of running jobs and making ends meet. So I'm going to stay away from those for a while. So once that machine's fixed, I'll probably just sell it. It'll be a really good machine for somebody. I'll probably have more money in it than it's worth. Take a loss on it, but I don't want to keep running it and then have to deal with that again. And I really don't have a need for. If I was using it every day where it was worth putting money into it, then I wouldn't mind to run it. But so I have decided that I'm definitely going to stop telling y'all that I'm going to do better, because my videos have been really few and far between, and I've just discovered that I've got to be in the right headspace to enjoy making them, and I don't want to make them if I'm not going to enjoy it. So I will say that the more feedback I get from, you know, the guys watching, the more motivated I am. So if you're watching this and you are enjoying it, I would really appreciate it if you would take the time to, you know, drop a comment. Make sure you like the video, but drop a comment and let me know what you think. You know, what you like, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see different. I like feedback, and I like to know that the people watching are enjoying. So that goes a long way in motivating me to make the next one. I've also got a Sany SY35 rented that I'm going to make some videos on. Rented it from Appalachian Equipment Solutions, which is the dealer that I bought my excavator through. They set me up with a pretty good deal on it. And those guys have been really, really good to me. And if you need any kind of like custom attachments or an excavator, obviously they're a Sany dealer. They do auctions. They have other equipment available. They also do a lot of custom fab work. Like they got a separate side of the business that makes counterweights for the excavators, which is where I got my counterweight. But they do all kinds of stuff. They make forestry packages, you know, guards, pretty much a lot of one-off stuff too, the way I understand it. Like if you want something built, they can do it. Sort of like custom fabrication too. So, and another thing is they're not just local to me. I got 4 or 5 different locations, but all over West Virginia and Tennessee, pretty much. They're the guys for the job. Alright, so we're going to get the rest of this material moved here. I got a big pile from where I pushed off for the house that I'm trying to just get back out of the way so I can start cutting this down behind me some more. everybody's different, but I feel like it's more efficient to push as much material as you can rather than scoop and carry. So anytime I'm presented with the opportunity to push instead of carry, I feel like that's a little bit more effective usually. Of course, sometimes if it's a real long push, then you're better off carrying it, but I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like there's a sweet spot in the amount of distance that it becomes worth it just to carry, but especially short distances, it's more effective to push, I feel like. Sometimes what I'll do is, like, if it's a medium distance and it feels effective, I'll scoop a few buckets and dump them in front of me and then push them. So, like, that one I'm just going to go ahead and carry because I got that big rock in it, and that's a pretty full bucket right there. I definitely feel like this thing could handle a bigger bucket, and I know the regular bucket, the non-4-in-1, is a little bit bigger, a little more capacity, and that would be nice sometimes. I think perfect world would be a quick coupler and both buckets, like one for high capacity, because like sometimes you're just scooping and carrying, moving dirt. And it just really would be better to just have a bigger bucket and not have the fancy 4-in-1. I'm going to keep on working on this pile, and then I'll get back to y'all. I don't want to bore you to death with the same stuff, so we'll get this pile moved, and we'll start cutting that ground behind me, and I'll pull the camera back out. Alright, so we're about to start cutting this back down. Here's a situation where I am using the 4-in-1 to kind of scrape just a little at a time to get me a good level pad to sit on. Keep pushing a little at a time. Alright guys. We are going to hop off, grab the camera, and then take a little break from filming while I finish this up, because I don't want to get too boring of the same thing over and over. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're going to keep working on this right here. I'm just going to keep on shaving this down until we get rid of it. See y'all later. Alright guys, I've been off camera digging, and I just wanted to take just a second to show y'all this giant freaking rock that I just scooped up. This machine's balanced really well too. Like, it's definitely a little front heavy right now, but it's still handling this really well. I'm gonna dump it over the back side of the pile, so ultimately it'll end up buried. Alright, that's all I needed. I'm gonna get back to it. Alright guys, we've got this shaped up pretty good. Got all this slicked off and went ahead and got this cut down to the grade they want. We're gonna leave this for now. We'll come in and do like a final grading and stuff, and that's when we'll really bring the skid steer and like fine tune all this and cover all this. But for right now, we wanted to leave that gravel, make it better to work around when it's rainy. I got all this shaped up. Might be hard to tell on camera, but water will go that way. We don't want any water sitting back here if we can help it. And then some water will go out this way too. So that pile's topsoil, so I left it alone. Kind of pushed around there, but everything real close to the house is nice and smooth and down so that they can work around it easy. And then we'll be back to it when they're ready for us to finish.